And welcome into another episode of Dan D'Antoni Sports. My name is Dan Snyder, joined tonight by Dan O'Shea, Tony Casper. Gentlemen, how you doing tonight?
Doing well.
That is good to hear. Dan O'Shea, how are you?
Doing well. Just trying to avoid some interference noise over.
Yes. So we there wasn't a super eventful week in sports. But there are a couple big things that did happen. We're just going to go over them as we do our news, as I've been calling it. First, probably the biggest story. Probably not the biggest story, actually. Second biggest story, but we'll start with this. Fernando Tatis Jr. Suspended for half the season. It's an 80-game suspension, so half minus one, for testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs. Now, the substance that he tested positive for is clostebol. Clostebol, not sure how to pronounce it, Clostebol, which is a steroid. Now, we've heard of all the funny things that people have done to try and hide steroids, but what about funny reasons why someone tested positive for steroids? And we've got two explanations given, one by Tatis himself and one by his father. I don't know which one is funnier, more entertaining, so we'll just start with his. It turns out that, according to Tatis, I inadvertently took a medication to treat ringworm that contained clostebol. I don't know of any ringworm medications. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a pharmacist, but I don't know of any ringworm medications that contains anabolic steroids. So I don't know.
None. However, what would have been more plausible in this situation is there is something that treats ringworm where the name is similar. And they could have actually used that as an excuse had you said, oh, well, I guess the pharmacy misread it and it was delivered as that instead of what I needed for ringworm. But that's not what he said. He said it contained it somehow, which is... First off, it gives the opinion that you're lying. Second of all, it's like, okay, well, I mean, you clearly didn't do enough research on this to make a plausible lie, which, again, is just as bad, if not worse. I don't know. It almost seems like, at this point, it's like, oh, we're going to grab the straws right out the gate and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like they're doing, is grasping at straws, because, again, what ringworm medication that you know of contains a steroid, an anabolic steroid, that's a performance-enhancing drug? Like, I'm taking a steroid nasal spray, fluticasone, because I have problems with my sinuses and whatnot. So I'm taking that steroid. I have asthma. I have a steroid inhaler. But different kind of steroid.
They don't reproduce the testosterone from your testes. What was the other excuse that so who was that? That was his excuse first, or that was his dad's?
That was player.
Initial excuse.
Again,
people looked into it and said that there's a possibility that the names could have been mixed up, because there is something that treats ringworm that is kind of similar, but in this day and age of digital prescriptions, they weren't fucking that up. It's not like the old days where, when my grandfather wrote a signature, you're like, this could be penicillin, but you could also be prescribing me PCP. Nobody knows.
Yeah. And back when medications did have cocaine in them,
Yeah, like when my grandfather wrote, there was none of that shit was legible. Like, we all had fucking documents of all the patients.
My grandfather called that the good old days.
Yeah. So
but like, nobody understood that. No one understood that other than him and maybe the fucking person that worked with him.
yeah, so the steroid is Clostebol. The ringworm medication is clobetasol. Very similar.
Yeah,
Very
but
similar.
not the same.
But that's not even the funniest explanation. As we get to his father, really quickly, Dan Beebe has joined us. Dan Beebe, how are you doing tonight?
Good, how are you guys?
We're doing well. We're talking about Fernando Tatis Jr. and his suspension. So his father.
Talking about ridiculous lies.
His father.
80 games, right?
Yeah, 80 games. His father said that he had to take medication to fix an issue with a fungus from a haircut.
Yeah.
What? Fungus from a
It
haircut?
sounds like they just like Googled legitimate uses for C medication and then like let Google autofill once they got a certain way through and didn't actually check what they were what they were trying to use as an excuse.
The first thing I asked a couple of my friends when I saw this was, is Rudy Giuliani their publicist? Because this sounds like some Rudy Giuliani shit right now. But
It sounds like some tomfoolery across the board. I mean, like, it's not bad enough that you want to claim a medical thing. Okay, well, and at least that one, yeah, close. But now you, motherfucker, a haircut. I mean,
Yeah.
fuck you.
yeah,
Like, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I also wasn't born yesterday.
no, it was very, very dumb explanation. So my question is now this: Fernando Tatis Jr. is 23. If he submits to regular PED tests and he passes every single one for the rest of his career and puts up Hall of Fame numbers, is there a possibility he makes it to the Hall of Fame, yes or no?
Well, I know my answer, so I'll let everybody else go. I know how I'm going to answer this. As person.
All right, so I'll answer it. 3 things. 1, I think the answer is going to be yes. If he puts up Hall of Fame numbers, he will get in. Here's why. Number 1, changing of the guard. The baseball voters right now are absolutely gatekeeping, and it's fucking stupid. Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame because he supposedly was taking performance-enhancing drugs. He never got caught. He never admitted to doing it. He was just named as a person who took steroids, but they never proved that he did. 2, the guy who okayed everybody using steroids is currently in the Hall of Fame. And 3, I don't think people are going to give a shit when it's time for him 15, 20 years down the road. If he can prove that he's not taking steroids anymore, if we get 3 years of him on steroids and 17 years of him not, and they're consistent, I think the voters are going to be able to overlook his early career and focus more so on his clean game. Those 3 reasons, I think, if he puts up Hall of Fame numbers and can prove that he is not taking steroids anymore, that he will get in.
I think I'd agree with that. Baseball has always had,
Plus,
they've always had like a look the other way mentality.
Big Poppy's in.
Whatever.
So.
Yeah. In era. So, at least when it comes to steroids, so I don't see much of an issue with that.
I'm going to say he does not. Period. He's not going to get in. Once you have been tainted with it in resolved that you came back and it was confirmed. Because you have to understand that Ortiz is in there because he was accused of it but never failed any tests. Nothing was ever proven against him. That's why Ortiz is in. But the likes of Manny Ramirez, who did test positive for it, is not.
Well, he at first he didn't test positive for it. He tested positive for estrogen, and then they took his blood, and he tested positive.
Okay, but again, unless you're going to open the door for the rest of them, and you can say that MLB has a look another way policy, fuck off with that bullshit. If that's the case, Pete Rose should be in the fucking Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean...
Again, I'm not advocating that he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame if he has a Hall of Fame career. I'm saying that the Hall of Fame needs to adapt. They need to accept that the steroid era is exactly that, a steroid era, and accept that these people were doing these things, because I am a strong believer in the fact that the Hall of Fame should consist of players that if you can't tell the story of the league without these players, then they need to be in the Hall of Fame.
So then, should the Hall of Fame then have a Hall of Shame? And put people who should be in the Hall of Fame, but they really fucked themselves, like Alex Rodriguez, like Manny Ramirez, like Shoeless Joe Jackson and Pete Rose, and just, like, have
section of the Hall of Fame.
Have a shame on you kind of thing. Like, you guys are the scumbags of the Major League Baseball history.
I would love for that to exist. I just don't think that, first of all, MLB is ever going to fucking react that way. But, yeah, whether it's asterisks or you actually just come out and admit it and call it the steroid era like the rest of everybody throughout history will call it.
Yeah.
And if you even want to put a little shame on it, fine. Be like the I don't know, the blemish on baseball, the steroid era, whatever the fuck you want to do to make yourselves feel better at night. But again, you can't tell the story without telling the story of these people who were a huge part of the game. Or you could just, I don't know, list it as mistakes made throughout baseball, but you need to include Pete Rose in there. Right now, this dude is still the hit record holder.
I think, personally, I like that idea of the Hall of Shame. Like, you should be in the Hall of Fame, but fuck you. That's basically what the idea would be. Going all the way back to Shoeless Joe Jackson, who is also banned from Major League Baseball for life, even though he's dead, just like Pete Rose is. Put all the people who had Hall of Fame careers, but fucked up, and give them their own separate, where we pay homage to how much of a shithead they are, not how great they were. But also, going back to my second point, all these people that are in the quote-unquote steroid era, as we're calling it, that aren't getting in, like Roger Clemens, like Barry Bonds, like Sammy Sosa, who never tested positive. There was no confirmation. I think Mark McGwire admitted to it at one point. So you can.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. He's not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So all those people.
And that's a huge problem to me, because again, if it wasn't for the shit that Sammy and Mark did that one summer, Major League Baseball would have such a shitty audience.
It's so dead if they
don't.
don't.
Fucking lockout.
Yep, it's so dead if they don't have that home run race. But all
I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but there's a great documentary that I would encourage anybody to watch called Long Gone Summer that ESPN did, and it perfectly summarizes what that importance meant to baseball.
Yeah, I mean, it kept, literally, in my opinion, kept baseball alive. It would be a dead sport right now if not for those two. Just like I don't think golf would be anywhere near as popular if Tiger Woods didn't come onto the scene. I think it would be.
Half of the fucking pro golfers, and I know you guys do not watch pro golf, and you certainly don't watch pro golf like I do. If it wasn't for Tiger Woods, half of these guys that are in the LIV tournament and this controversy we're having now, those guys would not be playing golf if it wasn't for Tiger Woods being so fucking dominant.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have happened. Half of the best players in the world never would have bothered picking up lacrosse clubs or golf clubs if it wasn't for Tiger.
It's crazy how one little thing can really shape the future of a sport. But going back to what I was saying, the people who you can't prove were on steroids, like I said, like we had named Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Roger Clemens, all of them, they're not in, but the guy who allowed the steroid era to happen is in. It's kind of fucked. It's kind of fucked.
Yeah. No one's sitting here saying that the MLB is justified or perfect in this situation. And in theory, I agree with you. Should he be in? Yes. Will he be in? No. Until MLB can get off its self-righteous horse, I don't think that they will. And to me, that's a shame. You can't tell the history of the game without mentioning this player, yet you are going to exclude them from your Hall of Fame that made you who you are.
Yeah. That's, it's very tough, especially as you get into modern sports. It's hard to find so few players. Like, because if we're talking about Hall of Fame being you can't tell the story of football without them. The NFL, what is the NFL's most valuable franchise? It's the Dallas Cowboys. Currently, the quarterback that has all the records is Tony Romo. He's a borderline Hall of Famer. I think he's done enough to get in, but he's not going to be a strong get in. You can't tell the story of the NFL without Tony Romo in that sense. But if you want to use that, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, Tony Romo, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Jesus Christ, Andrew Luck, they all have to be in the Hall of Fame, and I think that just devalues the Hall of Fame when you take half of the.
Let's be real. The NFL devalues their Hall of Fame all the time.
Yeah.
It's not like that's already been done, but yeah, in the NFL, I feel like it's a little different. Actually, I feel that the MLB Hall of Fame should be more like the NFL Hall of Fame, and the NFL Hall of Fame should probably be more like Major League Baseball.
In what way?
And the fact that I think that the NFL should be more selective in who gets in there, but I think that the MLB should not shy away from what it is or what it was. The NFL accepts it and allows people in there that could be controversial, but they were a huge part of the game and they were a huge success.
Yeah.
That being said, the MLB holds themselves to such a high standard that they're like, oh, this guy literally made our nut for the year, but we're not going to acknowledge that person as a Hall of Famer for what was accomplished.
Right, and another example, going back to the Cowboys and also the Eagles, the Bills, the 49ers, and I don't remember where else he played. Terrell Owens is easily top 5 wide receiver in NFL history, right? But it took forever to get him into the Hall of Fame because he notoriously hated the media. And they held a stupid grudge.
The media having the say over a lot of things has always been one of those things that really, I don't know, it's been a thorn in my craw for a long time because the media, like, I'm sorry, and as this coming from a Boston fan, Derek Jeter not being a unanimous Hall of Famer is outrageously insulting to me. Tell me one thing that this dude did wrong. Ever. Like, I'm a Boston fan, but you expect real and real is real. And that dude did everything correctly all of the time and brought so many championships and was so consistent. Was he ever going to light up the board? Not often, but he was going to deliver every single night offensively and defensively. The fact that he wasn't unanimously selected is an insult, and whoever the person was that voted against him should probably be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, so that leads me to ask this question. The Heisman Trophy gets voted on by not only, quote-unquote experts, but also former Heisman winners. Should, let's say, the last 10 NFL Hall of Fame classes, should those Hall of Famers get to vote on who joins the Hall of Fame and have that weighed more than it is?
Probably. I feel like they should have a say. Yeah. As a Hall of Famer, you should have say who gets to join your club. Nothing should be exclusively down to writers. Nothing at all.
Nope.
Because we're talking about different aspects. You can be really good at writing a story. You can be really good at following somebody and encapsulating their whole career. But at the end of the day, I have a problem with somebody writing something when you haven't done it. You don't have that frame of reference of actually doing it.
Not only
you don't know what it takes, and like the former Hall of Famers do. Like they're watching the game with a degree of sense that no one else has. So yeah, I would absolutely say that they deserve a say.
Yeah,
Dan, I love that you said that because that was like I don't really care for Keyshawn in the morning just because Keyshawn is, he's a little over the top for my liking. But I understand why people like him. But I do understand when he said, when he defaults to Jay Williams on basketball, when he interrupts Max Kellerman, and he says, you don't know because you have never done it. You've never been there. That's never been asked of you. You're just going off of your perception. If that doesn't make you take a step back as a fan, as a writer, as a broadcaster, someone looking from the outside, then you're clearly not evaluating. You're evaluating this shit through fucking goggles.
Yeah, and again, going back to that term I used earlier, there's always going to be gatekeepers in everything. Sports, music, video games even. I loved Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And I joined the Assassin's Creed Odyssey subreddit, and I joined the Assassin's Creed subreddit. People who were there with Assassin's Creed from day one fucking hate Odyssey and Origins, or Odyssey and Valhalla, because it's quote-unquote not Assassin's Creed. And you're going to get the same thing with people who don't like the fact that in the NFL it's moving more toward a read option type game. You're going to find people who've been writing about this for 50 years who hate the fact that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are deadly with their legs and exclude Josh Allen from this part, and not as much with their arms. They're going to want a traditional quarterback that is going to be able to escape the pocket, but is going to look to throw first, rather than a guy like Lamar Jackson who has the deadly ability to be a wide receiver, running back type out of the quarterback position. There are people who are writers who I see all the time talk about how the NFL is going downhill because they're allowing quarterbacks to make that decision and not throw the ball.
To me, that's
stupid.
That shit's fucking foolish too. Because that's you being fucking sourpuss over the fact that the game has changed in some way, and I don't like it. It should go back to the way that it was. Well, shit evolves, man, and if it doesn't, then we're stuck in the past. So, shut up.
Exactly. And I think that's a good spot to transition from baseball in our first topic to football in our second topic, which is Deshaun Watson's suspension. We go from suspension 1 to suspension 2. Earlier today, it was announced Deshaun Watson's suspension increased from 6 games to 11. Now, this was apparently agreed upon between Deshaun Watson's representatives, the NFL Players Association. In addition, and here's where I have a problem, he has to pay a $5 million fine to the NFL. Where's that money going to go? It's going to go to the NFL. The NFL doesn't give a fuck. They got their money. They got their money, and Goodell looks like less of a piece of shit because he got an additional 5 games added to the suspension. No. This was, it seems like, in my opinion, a money grab. Because why are you fining this guy and taking the money? Give that money to, like, fucking battered women's shelter or something like that. You know?
That's not how the NFL works.
No, they don't give a fuck. Goodell looks a little less like a piece of shit.
Don't marginalize them. They do give a fuck. They only give a fuck about their own wallets.
Yep. Yeah.
So don't say that they don't. I mean, they clearly do.
Yeah, it's just
what they give a fuck about. I mean, that's the difference.
Oh.
Yeah, this was like way to just completely drop the ball, go back on everything you guys said you were going to do, take this seriously. You legitimately made it 11 games so Deshaun Watson could get his $45 million this season from the Browns.
And play against the Texans.
If he had been suspended for one more game.
The NFL
can go fuck themselves. Goodell is a mouthpiece for the Shield. All of the owners are on board with this. They can all go fuck themselves. It's ridiculous. You gave Calvin Ridley a fucking indefinite full-year fucking suspension for betting on his own team to win, and you give a serial sexual predator fucking 11 games and a slap on the wrist fine for someone that makes the amount of money he's making from the stupid freaking Browns. No.
Yeah.
I'm never buying anything legitimately NFL again. I'll be putting my pirate cap on to watch the games, and I'll be buying jerseys that are less than legitimate. Fuck them. Fuck the NFL.
They're not going to be any less legitimate. You're just going to be buying it from the source in China.
Yep. It's just not going to have the Nike logo on it.
Nothing about any of this shit is self-righteous. The NFL makes their shit with sweatshops and children. Yeah, they fucking claim that they care about everything. They care about women. Betting's not good. We need $5 million so that we can give that back to the Browns because of the fact that they paid so much money for this jackass.
No.
Fucking Browns are ridiculous too. I hope Deshaun Watson gets hurt. I never wish injury on people, but when you're that big of a piece of shit, fuck you. I hope he has a season-ending or career-ending injury. Fuck him. And how funny would it be if they were like, we think we're going to get 12 game suspension, and the NFL owners got together and they're like, all right, hear me out. What if we give him 11 games, and then we fine him $5 million, and he pays for our end of the year party? Fucking great idea, Bob!
God. I think, so if they were going to do anything less than a full season, they came up with 11, and I guess it works out because his first start is going to be Browns versus Texans. But no, they really fucked this up. They fucked this up really bad. And I don't wish for injury like that, like you said, Dan O'Shea. But man, do I wish that every fucking team that the Browns come up against this season just says, nope, we're refusing to play. We're not going to host you.
Just never call a late hit on, ever. I don't care if it's 30 seconds after the whistle and someone just trucks them. I don't think never call a late hit.
No, they're on defense. He's over on the fucking sideline looking at the tablet, and a fucking crazy safety just comes over and wrecks his shit.
No, why do he runs an extra long route and just fucking levels him?
Yeah.
And the Cleveland fans are all excited. The Cleveland fans are all excited.
Cleveland fans have nothing to be excited about. The Cleveland fans have nothing to be excited about. They may end up with the first overall pick.
Oof, maybe. But it's...
Their team is not going to win
Yeah. I mean, it's a mess.
Block that in the first place.
It's the NFL's a mess. It's a problem.
You know, they don't care because they'll get ratings. They'll get a ratings spike because Deshaun Watson's first game back against his former team. What will happen?
God,
yeah, and you know what's gonna happen? Not a single person announcing the fact that the reason he was suspended in his first game back is because he's a fucking sexual predator.
I hope that CBS and Fox, anyone that broadcasts his game, I hope that anyone that broadcasts his game is going to bring up the fact that he's a sexual predator. I just hope that and he drops back and he's sacked, just like he should be, because he's a piece of shit.
Had production value, because there's no doubt that we can make a 30-second clip, and it's not even, it's literally a trailer to the game, and you can be like, the return of the predator. I think it would be fucking hilarious if we parodied that shit. I just don't think that we have the ability to fucking shoot that.
And then
but I mean, you just make clips of him fucking throwing bombs and shit. Like, you make it look like it's NFL worthy, but then you just fucking insult him as shit at the end.
And then you could tease a trailer. Isn't Max Crosby? He's Canadian, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Sounds like a Canadian name.
If someone that's Canadian or from another country gets a sack on him, coming soon, Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, fine.
All right, we got to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk about a couple more topics and our This Week in Sports History. God, this is just so infuriating. All right, you're listening to Dan D'Antoni Sports. We'll be back in just about 1 minute. And welcome back to Dan D'Antoni Sports. Oh man, the first half of the show we talked about two major suspensions. The second half gets a little bit more lighthearted, unless of course you're an Oakland A's fan like myself. Because the first thing we're going to talk about on this second half of Dan D'Antoni Sports is the Oakland A's. The reason I'm bringing them up is because yesterday, Elvis Andrus was released by the Oakland A's. And Barstool posted a little story. After releasing Elvis Andrus today, the Oakland A's highest paid active player makes $2.27 million per year. Now, I'm going...
Less than a cheater and a predator, which was the first half of the show.
Yes. Now, I am pulling up the A's active roster and their salaries. And we're just going to go through the ridiculousness that is the A's fucking roster salary. So, Chad
Didn't LeBron James just sign something ridiculous that makes him worth getting over fucking $500 million guaranteed throughout his fucking career?
So it was 2 years, 90-some million, which, yes, brought him to like $534 million for his career, making him the highest paid NBA player of all time, until Trae Young and Luka Doncic signed their, $500 million contract soon.
Shit's getting bananas.
It is.
But yeah, bring up the sad state of the A's. I need to feel like I'm within reaching distance of one of those guys.
All right, so list of Oakland A's current players that make more than $1 million a year. Chad Pinder, Tony Kemp. End of list.
Look.
That's so fucking pathetic. I am begging and fucking pleading. Please, sell the team to somebody who wants to win. To somebody who's going to say, you know what? If you want to do something, you got to spend money. The Mets have done it, and look at them. They're doing well. The fucking A's need to follow suit. Get a new owner. Get a change of scenery, because you're not getting a new stadium, because the city of Oakland and the county of Alameda want to fucking fight over who's going to own the rights to your stadium, when you should just be paying for it yourself anyways. Just move to Vegas.
Did you hear my question? I'm not sure. I got interrupted by a phone call halfway through.
Oh, no, I did not hear a question. I'm sorry.
My question, okay, if they're bought out by a different owner, and that owner decides to move the team, would you still follow him?
I am not a regional sports fan, so like...
No shit, they're on the exact opposite point of the country.
Yeah, so if the Knicks, let's say the Knicks moved to Buffalo, I'd still be a Knicks fan. If the Cowboys moved to Memphis, Tennessee, I'd still be a Cowboys fan. If the A's moved to Las Vegas...
If the A's decide to uproot and move to... Fuck, I don't know.
Fucking Honolulu, Hawaii.
Yeah, sure. Anchorage, fucking Alaska.
And they changed their name to the fucking Baleen Whales. The Anchorage Baleen Whales, formerly known as the Oakland A's. Yes, I'd still be a fan.
I would change them to the Anchorage Huskies, but I mean, I just think that would sound better.
Yeah, you're right. It would. But
they'd obviously be in a dome.
The Dimmadome, the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
I think we're onto something. Somebody gets fucking Sarah Palin on the phone.
Oh, don't you know? Yeah. I can see the fucking baseball games from my back porch.
That's a fucking joke, by the way.
Yeah, let's.
Nobody take that fucking seriously.
Yeah, and please, nobody call Sarah Palin. We don't need that. But yeah.
Or anything ever.
But yeah, Chad Pinder, Tony Kemp. End of list of players that make over $1 million on the Oakland A's team.
That's crazy to me. That's a professional baseball team. Like, that is a professional baseball team that exists.
Yep. There's one other that's not currently active because he's injured, and that's Ramon Laureano. He makes $2.45 million. But, so when he comes back, that's going to be 3 players that make over $1 million on the team. It just doesn't make sense.
Damn.
The retained salaries: Stephen Piscotty, $7.25 million. Elvis Andrus, $6.75 million. Frankie Montas, $3.23 million. Lou Trevino, $1.928 million. And then another Stephen Piscotty, we owe him another $1 million. There's more players that aren't playing for the A's making money off the A's than players that do play for the A's. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
The A's need to figure it out. I mean, they've got all the money in the world to be able to dish out. Like, you're right. In fairness, I don't know if they definitely need to move. I mean, they probably should. I mean, Almeida County is not going to help.
Just need new ownership.
Yeah, no, that's really what it comes down to. The ownership needs to be much better. Oh, my God, what a toilet. This is what the NFL gives me on a Thursday night. Ugh.
Who's playing?
Chicago and fucking the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, yes. Two teams.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, even if I was not unhappy with the NFL right now, I wouldn't turn that garbage on.
The good thing about those two teams, though, is from starters to fourth string, you're not losing much talent. So, there you go.
It still makes me throw up into my mouth, and I'd rather watch children play baseball, which is on ESPN too.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, Elvis Andrus released. 2 players currently active with the A's, making over $1 million a year. And there are teams that have players making as much money as the A's are currently spending on their active players, which is insane. Get a new owner. Stop being cheap. Moneyball was not something to aspire to, so stop fucking doing it.
Moneyball was a good movie. Move on.
God damn it. Anyone got anything more they want to say about this topic before we move on to the last topic that I've got?
No, other than the fact that I fucking have loved watching fucking Yankees fans fucking crumble. I can't believe it. That team is such front runner loaded that they're like, oh my god, we've lost 16 games. Never mind that you're like 10 games in front of first still. And they're like, season's over, hang it up. Oh, I love the implosion. Red Sox fans, we've been out of it for a month. Don't care. But love watching people crumble like that.
Yep. They're on what, an 11-game losing streak?
If you were a Mets fan, I can understand if you were a Mets fan. Like, oh my god, my team is fucking imploding. No, this always happens every year, because it does. But Yankee fans, oh, you lose your minds over the most ridiculous shit. But yet you always love to remind people of 27 championships. Fucking pick a lane.
Yup. Jesus Christ. I mean...
Sorry, it gets to me.
I get it, because as a Cowboys fan, every year I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is the same shit every fucking year. And then...
I mean, I can definitely say the same thing about Patriots fans in reverse.
Yeah. No, I mean, we can do it across a ton of fan bases. It's just, that was my little fucking Tony Kant fucking rant this fucking week, because it's not even a rant. I fucking love to watch it happen. I'd like more.
Yeah. Really quickly, I'm just drawing on the paper, the outline. I'm just drawing things, and one of the things I just drew made me think of ribbon candy. And I've been watching videos on Snapchat of this place in Syracuse called Hercules Candy, and they make filled ribbon candy. You can get fucking cookies and cream filled ribbon candy. How does that work?
That's kind of crazy. I don't know how that works. I was thinking ribbon candy, and I'm like, the fair's right down the road. I can go there. I'm not paying $22 to get in to get the mac and cheese I want.
Yeah, but I just, you know, I love watching the videos of them making the candy. It's so cool.
I just don't get how you fill it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, no, that's a baffling point to me.
I mean, look them up. Hercules Candy. Look them up. They got all sorts of crazy shit.
I have no reason to not believe you.
No, I'm not saying that because you should believe me. I'm saying, hey, let's order stuff.
Gotcha. Now I follow.
Anyways, topic number 4, final topic before This Week in Sports History. Officially tomorrow, Madden comes out. However, if you pre-ordered and you have EA Play, you got 3 days early access to Madden 23. And they also give you a 10-hour trial the day before. So I've been playing Madden since the 15th of August. And still has its problems. But I will tell you, it is way better than last year.
Yeah, Sean Watson's in it still.
Jesus Christ.
So basically, you paid to be a final stage tester?
Basically.
Does he get extra stats whenever a defender has his back turned?
Should.
Ah,
It should. Actually,
that's just wholesome comedy.
I'm gonna send some pictures to the group chat that I think you guys might like. I think it's pretty funny.
Are they the fake stats?
What?
I got some NFL fake Madden things.
Yeah.
And actually, one of them.
Yeah.
I didn't. Let's see.
Deshaun Watson focused, increased accuracy.
Getting massage.
Yeah, Predator is one of his fucking.
$30 million for sexually assaulting 26 women. It's not 28.
Yeah.
Ineligible for games officiated by female referees.
Yeah. Yep.
Hilarious.
Yes.
Even though it's also depressing.
Yeah.
I liked Zach Wilson's bang opposing QB's mom after the game.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's true.
All the hot moms in your local area.
Dude, they just keep getting more ridiculous and ridiculous. Antonio Brown, put that shit on. Run off the field shirtless if you don't have 10 targets by halftime. Business is booming. Curse out your employer, then beg for your job back. Calvin Ridley.
Hilarious.
Calvin Ridley. There's an actual X Factor in Madden called Gambler, and they fucking put that on him. Place bets on live NFL games during halftime.
He shouldn't have to do anything. He should just get that fucking attribute immediately.
Yep. Careless. Awareness drops to 0 when using a DraftKings account linked to your real name. Like,
Yeah.
Fantastic.
what a,
How are you liking it, though, other than the bugs? Let me ask you that.
okay, so on the PS5, which I do have a PS5, they have this field sense.
That's a nice flex.
Yeah, they have this field sense is what it's called. And so, have you ever played 2K?
Yes.
Okay, so you know how there's a shot meter when you shoot?
Yeah.
There's kind of the same thing now for quarterbacks. So if you time
So it's
your
a release meter?
yeah, there's a release meter, and if you time things perfectly, there are 3 different modes. There's classic where you don't have the meter, and it's just you press the button and it throws it where it throws it.
Yeah.
Then there's power, and there's accuracy. So you choose between those 3 when you set it up.
Okay.
The better timing you have on releasing, the more accurate or stronger. But also, after you throw the ball, you can like kind of coax where you want the ball to go post-release. So you can throw it to a receiver, but lead them a little bit more to keep them away from throwing interceptions. The only problem is it fucks me over because I immediately, when I throw it, try to switch to that receiver, and so I'm running the route, and nope, I'm throwing the ball all the way to the fucking corner instead of just outside the middle linebacker. So it really fucks me over. But
I mean, I'm going to get it, because really the only thing I do in those is I play the ultimate team, because I pick a random team for the most part. I just refuse to play certain teams, obviously.
Yeah.
But I pick, because you're going to build your team anyway, but I always play that. However, I will say, I've got to say, I am actually looking more forward to NCAA football coming back.
I can't wait! They need to bring Dynasty back. I need to be able to take Temple to 20 straight national championships. I need it.
No, I understand. Dude, listen, Dick's getting hard already talking about it, okay?
Yeah.
Like, that's how I have been waiting for this forever. I still have the last copy they made, and that motherfucker has a picture of a Michigan fucking player.
Denard Robinson.
Yep. Still have it. Still upstairs. Know exactly where it is. Could plug it in tonight.
I have 08, and I took San Jose State to 20 straight championships, and I won 12 of them.
Dude, I took UConn to multiple championships. They have no business fucking being there.
Nope, they do not.
Multiple. I've done everything in that game. I've been the quarterback at Ohio State. I was also the running back in Texas. Guess what? Heisman every year, bitches.
Yep. I remember one year.
But I do hope that if they're going to bring it back, I do hope that they bring the introduction of the draft class. Like, if you play your character and you go through his career and you fucking go in, you can have that draft class and continue that character.
In Madden,
it has
yep.
to have that. If it doesn't, it's fallen short for me.
Right, yeah. But it's just so much fun.
Is it EA making it?
Yes.
Yes.
But but they said they've hired a completely different team to develop it, and they don't want it to be like Madden at all.
Good.
Fine. Don't make it like Madden. Make it a college game. But the thing is, you should still be able to import. The file should be able to import. It's
Right.
not that hard to do. If we can do it back in the early 2000s, we can fucking do it now.
Yep. Yeah. And give us a good story mode. Like, I don't...
Yeah, give it... Like, don't overdo it, because I remember one year, I don't know if you... Dan, you might remember this. There was a year that, like, you had to go to fucking class.
I don't remember that. I don't... But
No, you had to take classes and, like, pass tests. It was like trying to teach fucking kids to learn while they were fucking doing it. And these were not college classes. They were like, 5 times 5 is what?
That's hilarious.
That's a college class for
North Carolina.
That's a college class for some of these elite
You don't need to
prospects,
go
man.
that in
They're not in
depth,
real
like-
classes.
I'm really not worried about becoming on the academic All-American list. You can fucking leave me out of this. Just let me play the goddamn football game that I, as a fucking person who's an adult, who has a job, is trying to release myself from reality for a moment. I don't want to have to go to fucking class.
Yeah, so this game, like, North Carolina, their football team, they got credit for fucking study hall. A 6-credit class. Ridiculous.
Oh, I know. I saw it all. I'm well aware of their fucking preferential treatment.
And then fucking Ben Simmons, like, all right, I'm going to not go to class. What? I'm going to end up failing and not be able to play basketball? You've seen enough of me. I'm entering the draft. Goodbye.
So minus the quarterback thing, though, going back to what we were talking about, minus the quarterback range meter, I guess you would call it, how's the rest of the game?
Good. I'll get to Ultimate Team in a
Options, a lot
second.
of different play types.
Yeah, so the play types are... I think they're improved from last year. There's a lot more useful plays, but also one of the biggest things for me is the animations. I don't know if you've ever had this issue, but you could have a jump ball and be like suspended in air for 2 seconds and then like flail around. That doesn't happen this year.
Yeah.
You come down like immediately, and the animations look
So you're
smoother.
saying animation is more realistic.
Yeah, and when running, I don't get stuck behind my offensive linemen without the ability to move. You can now cut and juke behind them to break yourself free. So they've made a lot of improvements. It's a lot better.
Okay, so gameplay is a lot better. What is it that you like the most about the new setup? Is it better gameplay, or is there something else that you like the most?
I feel like I'm not very good, but I'm able to be competitive in every franchise game that I've played so far. So I like that. And adding in the bigger variety of plays, because I have like 5 plays last year that really worked for me.
They were your go-tos.
My
You
go-to.
could fucking make the first down if you need it with that play. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. And then every once in a while, it's a fucking home run because the coverage is shit. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking
I
wheel
know.
routes and mesh.
I know one play, and it's 4 verticals.
Wheel route and mesh.
Everybody has 4
Every time. Every play.
Yeah, and
fucking puts that fucking baby to bed.
the one big issue that I still have is no matter how you set, or in my opinion, or in my experience, no matter how you set your corners, they never cover the fucking flats. So there's always a wide receiver or a running back open on the sideline. And I just don't understand how that never... You just have like a corner standing there last year. This year, I don't know where they are, but the fucking Austin Eckler's wide open. Why are you fucking just letting Austin Eckler be wide open on the sideline? That's stupid.
I forgot about it.
Yeah. Let me
ask you a question. With you having a PS5 and me having a PS4, are we able to get on the same network and play each other?
No, but for the most part...
You're lucky.
For the most part, I think both versions, the All Madden and the regular, Maybe not, but I got the all Madden version, so I have the 4 and the 5 version.
Tony, if you're looking for a PS5, just let me know. It's really easy to get one. You just gotta follow the right Twitter accounts.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to reach out to you for that because.
Do you have a PS5, Dan?
Yeah, I've had one for a while.
Nice.
Okay,
I got it when Spider-Man came out.
Ooh, I love Spider-Man. I've played that game through 3 times now.
Second one's just as good. Super fun.
Nice.
Oh, the first one I've played through twice and got 100% both of the times, and then I'm just kind of fucking thinking around being an asshole. But
that and Horizon, the second one, they both hold up very, very
But
well.
yeah, I'll have to talk to you about getting that PS5. But the thing is, I don't know about you guys, but in my household, we use the PS5 for everything. Like, that's our streaming shit. Like, I'll get home and I'll turn on the TV, and it'll pop up and be like, Hulu, Jersey Shore. I was like, I know who was using this morning.
Oh, yeah. But
Wasn't me.
my favorite.
Alert.
Sorry.
Sorry, nothing. Go ahead.
My favorite mode is Ultimate Team. I like doing the little challenges. I like building the team. I like football cards, and basically I'm playing fucking video game football cards. So,
Yep.
I agree
with you.
it is
That's
fun.
why I love it. That's why primarily that's what I use. But I would love to be able to go, like, there's definitely a way. I know because it's been that way for a while. But you can take someone's Ultimate Team and play them against their other Ultimate Team. So, like, I would love to be able to do that against you. I mean, obviously, Mister, I've got 3 days on you.
Listen. I have been playing it for 3 days. My team's still only an 83 overall. But there are people.
83 overall.
There are people, and I'm not shitting, on fucking Reddit that have only had it for 3 days as well, are already an 86 overall, and have like 12 million coins. How the fuck do you have 12 million coins?
Let me ask you a question that's pivotal in this situation. Have you paid a dime other than buying the game?
So I paid the $100. I bought the $100 version that gave me the 4 version and the 5 version. Also gave me some packs and gave me some Madden points. But other than that, I'm not putting any money into it at all.
Okay, so you're not. So under that definition, anyone correct me if I'm wrong. That's not pay to play. You paid to buy the game. You got some advantages for buying it early and for buying the edition that you did, but you're not paying to play.
Right.
So those people that you're talking about, those motherfuckers have mommy and daddy's credit card, and they're like, I'll spend $50 to get these fucking packs.
Yep.
Can't stand it. Blue boxes, whatever you want to call it.
But
Yeah,
you don't
fuck those people.
You don't have to spend money to have a competitive team. If I was better...
No, I know you don't. Dude, I've grinded my ass off and brought the Buffalo Bills when me and Chief were living together and got the Buffalo Bills to a 90-fucking-2 overall. I had Bo Jackson as my running back. I had a fucking 90s early 2000s Tom Brady as my quarterback. My team was ridiculously stacked.
Yeah, when I finished playing Ultimate Team on 22, I had a Cowboys themed team, and I was in 98 overall. No money spent. Yeah. So it's possible.
I don't spend money. I'm not going to spend money on that. And if you're going to do that and your team is already there, I'll give you respect for that. I'm not going to buy it until my vacations are over, and then I've accepted that summer is done, and then I'm just going to bury myself into it. And then maybe I'll use Dan O'Shea's little secret tricks over here, and I'll be able to play you, and I don't know, maybe catch some interceptions to the dick. I don't know.
Yeah, Reggie Ragland off the balls. Yep. Yeah, that was good. I did like that.
I'll take an interception off the dick. I don't care. Whatever allows me to win.
Yep. But yeah, so that's it. Madden's been good. Definitely a lot better than last year. Ultimate Team, though, hopefully they add in more packs, because right now there's not much you can buy with training or with coins, and it's all the Madden points that you have to buy for the most part to get good packs, which fucking sucks.
Yeah, they probably will. I mean, they usually... One thing I will say about the Madden Ultimate Team is, like, they've always had, like, a strategy of, all right, we're going to release this now, and then we're going to be saving this for later. Like, they release stuff as it goes just because they want people to continue playing throughout the entire time. Like, they always do something for Halloween, like it's like Spook Fest or something like that.
Most feared.
Yeah, and then they're always going to have, like, players of the week, whoever had a ridiculous performance, and you can get that player for that week.
Yeah.
Like, Madden does a good job of knowing when their audience is captivated and using it for that purpose.
Yeah, I just hope that the issue that I'm having is last year they had, you could get a gold player for 500 coins. This year you can only do that one time a day. Otherwise it's 2,500 coins for a gold player or better. And that's where I had...
They can go fuck themselves on that. That shit'll end up changing.
And the Pro Fantasy packs that were 14,000 coins, that gave you 6 players. You could choose 4 from the first round. Sorry, 5 players, 4 from the first round, and then the second round were better cards. They don't even have that pack. It's not even an option. That's where I got most of my good cards from.
You're playing ahead of time. Just accept the fact that eventually that shit's gonna fucking come in there. It's just they're probably working. They're giving you limited options because they got to work out kinks and shit.
Yeah,
so that'll change. I'm willing to bet that'll change.
Yeah, I am hoping that we get more coin packs because it's going to be very difficult this year if you don't spend any money to build up a team to be competitive. If they don't add those coin packs.
But the game's got to allow for the competitive people that don't pay, because there's a large contingency of people that don't pay.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot. But anyways, yeah, I've really enjoyed it so far. Even the franchise games have been fun. I typically don't like the franchise games, but they've been fun.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. That's a ringing endorsement, and I'm going to have to get it. Because, I always look forward to Madden, but the only game this year that I've looked forward to other than Madden was Far Cry 6, and I still haven't gotten it, so...
Yeah, I've got 2 games I'm looking forward to next year, and then that's pretty much it that I know of. Besides the Madden, so 3 games next year. Next year, college football in July, Madden in August, and
only one on my radar.
And supposedly Mortal Kombat 12 in November. So.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm not
completely redone.
I'm not a button masher. I've never claimed to be. Like, I can't do that. I'm more of, like, I'd be more of a, like, skilled in the RPG aspect of it. But button mashing, I'll get my ass kicked. I admit, you know where you're good and you know where your faults are.
Yeah.
That's a fault for me.
Yep. I enjoy, I get it every year for the story, because Mortal Kombat, if you haven't dedicated any time to it, spend a solid 6 or 7 weeks, because that's how long it takes, to read all the backstories and shit, and how it all came to be, because it's very fucking deep and it's very fucking fascinating.
Oh, I believe it. I have no doubt. I know people that swear by it, so...
And like,
I just know I'm not good at it, and I can admit when I'm not good at things. Like, you don't see me dancing anywhere. You probably wouldn't see me dancing at my own wedding, other than the songs I absolutely have to. Like, that's not a forte that I'm good at.
Yeah. So,
take some dance lessons, man. It's not that hard.
Yeah, okay. Dude, if I'm going to learn to dance, I'm going to learn a real dance, like a salsa or some shit like that. Like, that I could do because I did, like, training, but I believe you.
Salsa's hard. Yeah, you definitely need lessons. It's hard to pick up.
All right. All right. Anyone got anything else? We got like 5 minutes before we got to end. Anyone have anything else before we end the show?
I do not.
All right. So this week in sports history, as almost always, found it on onthisday.com. On August 17th, 1933, Major League Baseball player Lou Gehrig plays his record 1,308th consecutive game. Fucking A, that's a lot of games. Jesus Christ. Players these days, we realize that people are worth more than just them playing a fucking game. So they take breaks and take time off and shit. That did not happen back in the day, apparently. But, goddamn, 1,308 games in a row. It's almost unimaginable.
Yeah, that's impressive.
All right. Guys, that's it. I want to thank you for listening, of course. Find us on Twitter. We're at DanDanTony. On Facebook, we are DanDanTonySports. Send us an email if you want, DanDanTonySports@gmail.com. So for Dan, Tony, and Dan, have a good night.